I'd rather die of liver cancer and talk about my daughter than that.
No, you're
There's
right.
no dad, decent father, who would ever talk like none, who would ever talk like this about their own daughter as a dad of, and a 66-year-old UK man. So, talking about, of course, the first thing is when a father says the thing he has in common with his daughter is sex, that's a red light. That's when the police should be knocking on the door within a few hours, and in the UK they'll be knocking on the door for sure by the next day. Locker room talk is not what Trump did on the Access Hollywood. I know what locker room talk, you know what it is. When I was a teenager, we engaged in a bit of locker room talk, saying how gorgeous some girl was. But what he said is protective custody talk, where nonces, which I don't know if that's the UK term, nonces, criminals who are not of the normal criminal element are put in protective custody. That's where people talk like that, the way Trump talk. When he mentioned the other day on a clip that the Midas Touch dropped, that he wouldn't go below 13-year-old, that's another red light. Police knocking on the door the next day. It's quite clear, quite straightforward. The man hasn't even got the self-control to hide the fact that he's a paedophile.
Well,
self-control to even hide it.
It's pretty evident just based on his behavior. Can you imagine what right-wing MAGA Republicans would say if Joe Biden was once best friends with one of the most famous child predators on the planet? What would they say if Joe Biden was seen with all these pictures with somebody like a Jeffrey Epstein, and then all of a sudden Joe Biden said, I don't want to talk about Jeffrey Epstein and I don't want to release all the files, and they want to talk about everything and anything else but Epstein. And then Epstein's confidant, Maxwell, if Joe Biden's DOJ went to try to get to Maxwell, we all know why they're doing that, because they want to make sure she shuts up. I mean, MAGA Republicans would be talking about this 24/7.
Yeah, and did you hear the thing with the rapper? I can't remember his name, Uncle Luke, I think it was. Did you hear the Midas Touch drop that interview with, I think it's Uncle Luke, his name is.
I didn't. I'll have to check that out.
It's brilliant. It's incredible. It's incredible because he talks about being invited to a Trump party where underage pageant girls were on offer. And this is the Midas Touch dropped this morning, and my jaw was on. I put it on Blue Sky.
Okay, so I did.
Okay,
so tell me if we're talking about the same video. I know there's a video where Donald Trump was a judge of a pageant with women as young as 14 years old, and we have learned in that pageant that there was evidence that there was sexual abuse that was taking place, and they were taking advantage of young girls. Is that the same thing that we're talking about?
No, Brian. This is quite a different one. But one I was surprised I haven't heard before. So this is a rapper. His name was Uncle Luke.
Are we talking about Luke from the guy from Two Live Crew? You're talking about the guy from Two Live Crew, I think, right?
That's it. That's it.
Okay.
That's the guy. That's the guy.
Yeah.
And he says he was invited with Eddie Murphy and Mike Tyson to a Donald Trump party. It was basically drugs and sex.
Right. Okay,
no
so
music,
was this the party? Okay, now I understand. This was the party where Eddie Murphy was involved too.
Yeah.
And they show up into this house, and they said the sex made them very uncomfortable. And this guy from Two Live Crew said there were young girls there, and there was like a sex party with drugs. Yes, I remember. I remember this story now. Yes, thank you. Yeah,
that's right.
Yep.
I think it's a Trump organized party.
Right.
With pageant girls. He said pageant girls to him looked underage, which I guess means they probably were. Mm-hmm. And pageant girls, meaning they were from, presumably, now this is not fair to say, because he didn't say this, but from one of Trump's pageants, you might assume. What more do you need? It's not just...
he's on, but Paul, you're right. Paul, he's on video inviting Jeffrey Epstein into his home, staring at women's bodies, making jokes with Jeffrey Epstein. He's the guy who sexualizes his daughter and says the number one thing they have in common is sex. But they want to talk about Joe Biden sniffing hair. They're some of the biggest hypocrites and idiots that America has to offer.
Yes, and Brian, you ask any dad, I know you're not a dad yet, I hope you will be, happily, any dad would say, I'd rather die of liver cancer and talk about my daughter than that.
No, you're
There's no dad, decent father, who would ever talk like none, who would ever talk like this about their own daughter.
Yeah.
And the only reason he gets away with it, this orange hog, is because he's rich and powerful. But if he went on that show and talked about his daughter and said, oh, he's got sex in common with her, and they all yucked it up and laughed. What they should have been doing is calling, well, in America, it's 911. They should have been dialing 911 and saying, you need to arrest this guy. That's
they
what
want
should have
to.
done.
You're right, my friend. Paul, it's good. You're right. It's good to hear from you, Paul. I really do appreciate you calling in from the UK. And you're right. They talk about the Hollywood elitists and all the liberals who are pedophiles, yet they still continue to support Donald Trump. It's sickening and it's disgusting.